It is Sunday night, 12 a.m. Eastern time. I woke this poor guy up from Germany, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. We've got Patrick Schappert from Grobe TV. How are you doing, my friend Patrick? Welcome to our time zone. I'm glad that you woke up for this momentous occasion of us discussing immersive surround sound.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. We had a big party in our city last night, and my voice is a little bit lower than normal. It was a big party, but I'm very happy that we have a chance to see us live here on air and to speak about a fantastic, would say, application theme technology.
Yeah, and it's a small world because I didn't know who you were until I just saw your face and I recognized you because you did a video of the Denon 8500 receiver when it first came out. You had the top off of it. You were showing the transformer, and I think it was in German. I don't remember if it was in English or not, but I was glued to it and I was kind of looking at it. You were talking to the Denon rep, and I just got a good vibe from you. And I figured you're someone that's knowledgeable, that really is a passionate person about home theater, and I appreciated the coverage you gave of that product. And then we just kind of crossed paths now because of this whole Dolby restriction thing. And I met you through Wilfred from Auro 3D. So it's a small world, and I'm glad you're here. Why don't you give the end user that's watching us now a little overview of what you do, what your channel's about, what your business is about, and what you do over in Germany?
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. Also, we started in December 99 as company Grobe, and the focus was from the beginning home cinema. Started in the beginning with projectors, and then we got additional products like the AV receivers, the loudspeakers, the screens, and so on. And now, after 20 years, we are 14 people, and we are working in whole Germany. And we were working with YouTube to present products and applications since 10 years, because we think that it is very important to demonstrate not only the technical features, you need to explain the benefit of technical features and what is the meaning of a lot of logos, what it means in my daily work and my daily use. So the YouTube channel we are using here on Grobe TV is a channel which is a mixture of products presentation, but also we take a look behind the curtains. So that means I have a very close contact in the last years with the industry. We spoke a lot about applications, a lot about the developments, future visions, and so we were visiting the studios like Ari some months ago. Ari is one of the biggest production studios for movies in Germany. We had a chance to take a close look to understand why sometimes movies are so like they are in picture quality, in the colors, in the 3D sound, and so. And we are making also presentation about big cinemas because we see that home cinema is not an enemy of the cinema. We think home cinema is a hobby. People which like to go into cinema like to see 6 months later at home the same movie on a big screen, not on a small television. So we think that home cinema and cinema can work parallel. It is not a problem. So yeah, and then we have working since 5 years with 3D sounds. We made the first movie about Dolby Atmos in a professional cinema. We were really surprised what's going on there. And when it's coming to home, everybody was only smiling. Nobody told us, yeah, it will happen maybe in 1 or 2 years. And yeah, we met Wilfred. We were visiting Wilfred in his big Galaxy studios. To know Galaxy Studio in Belgium is one of the biggest studios for sound. Wilfred is a visionary. He made a fantastic job there with a lot of world records in the studios when you take a look on the technical specifications. So we were really impressed. And then we were waiting for 3D sound for home. And now we are here.
When you're talking about what Wilfred does, are you talking about like the pure audio Blu-rays that are in Auro 3D? Is that what you're talking about for music or for movies?
Now we spoke about both. So in the beginning, it was focused on the movies. He was so happy that George Lucas was the first guy which were using Auro 3D on a movie, and then because he was thinking that could be the big breakthrough, and but. Naja, we know the situation is. It is a David against Goliath thing in this business we have there. And the music one was happening parallel. And you need to know pure audio is a standard which comes from a German guy. Mm-hmm. It is Stefan Bock, MSM Studios. I met him personally. He's a great guy. He's so many passion in this. Like a lot of people in this industry, we have fantastic products, but most of the end users don't know this. So It is our job to explain that we have more than 300 titles of pure audio discs in the market.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't realize it was that extensive. Yeah, because we don't see a lot of that in the States over here, to be honest with you. Your audio is kind of a niche Blu-ray that it's hard to come by. I did want to interrupt you real quick because we had a nice comment here I wanted you to see. Check that out.
Oh.
You got to release some of your videos in English.
Yeah, okay, we tried. We try harder.
Okay. Well,
Thank you very much.
There's your request. So let me ask you this now. I'm kind of curious. We were talking behind the scenes about that there are some Atmos mixes that just become very underwhelming when you get them in the home, like especially like Disney movies. They just don't have very good effects of the height channels or the virtualization of 3D space. What I don't understand about that is when Atmos was on this, when it came out, they basically said the advantage of Atmos was you could make one mix for the cinema and then translate that down to the home theater and basically upscale it up or down depending on how many speakers you have in your room. But it doesn't seem like that came to fruition. We are not getting the mixes from the cinema in the home, are we?
No, not really. So it's a different way. You have not the same kind of numbers of objects in the cinemas. You have much more. And if you take a look that when you go into a cinema and you see maybe 20 loudspeakers on the left, 20 on the right, 20 on the ceiling 2 times, I think it is logical that it can't be that they have the same effect when you are going at home and it is allowed for you to work with a soundbar or to work with maybe only 2 loudspeakers under the ceiling. And then you say, now we have Dolby Atmos. It is not the same. It is a difference.
Especially if you try to bounce the sound around with the Atmos reflection speakers.
A reflection system is the same thing. The reflection system, you have no idea what's about the distance to the screen or television, what's about the distance to the loudspeakers, how high is your ceiling, and so on and so on. And this is, I think, a big critic from my point of view, that industry is going lower and lower with the standards, but it's making the same annunciation or the same, headlines. This is Dolby Atmos. No, it's the Dolby Atmos, unprofessional Dolby Atmos, consumer Dolby Atmos, amateur, whatever. And it's not the same. I go into cinema, I see a preview trailer, which is amazing, with a lot of effects and so. Then I come at home, I have 2 loudspeakers more and say, oh, no, it's coming the same. Not really.
Yeah, basically they're liquidating the brand when they're trying to give you Atmos down to a $200 soundbar. It kind of ruins the brand of what Atmos is. And I've always kind of said that since day one. I don't want to see Atmos being thrown into soundbars, laptops. You know, we're gonna have a Dolby Atmos breakfast cereal. You know,
it is. I have a little bit of déjà vu, would you say, when I think on THX. I think on THX it happens the same. When THX was announcing loudspeakers for $100 with a THX logo, I would say, hey, what's going on there? So, and this was one of the big mistakes in the past they did, from my understanding. And it can happen maybe there also. But on the other side, we have the problem with the content. When we have a good content and there are samples available, or I can tell you some samples would we say this is fantastic in Dolby Atmos mixings, we have maybe at first not so hard discussion about the upmixer, because this was one of the main reasons why we spoke about the upmixers, that we like to hold them, because they are much better than original content. This is crazy, but it's the truth.
Wait. Let me understand what you're saying here. You're actually telling me that there is a case for upmixing is better than, let's say, a native Atmos mix. You're saying you can get better results by upmixing it through Auro 3D or through another virtualization process?
Yeah.
So, okay. So if that's the case, what do you think about the whole restriction that Dolby was doing a year ago when they tried to stop cross and upmixing from different streams? Do you think that was a bad thing? And do you think that it's great that it's been undone so we have more diversity in how we choose to upmix our content?
Yeah, it was the best thing what happened. And I'm very happy that we have this time the European political people there, because we are sometimes not so happy with the guys. But this time they make a really great job very fast. When you take a look back and you see Dolby Atmos was, or the 3D sounds, all the 3, also Atmos, Auro, and DTSX, they were promising us that we get a new feeling of seeing a movie. And that means we have the possibility to hear the car, which is driving from the left to the right and from the front to the back. But what we didn't hear was the plane. He was not flying above us. He was flying through us, because we have not only for the 5 loudspeakers. So they explained us that with these 3 systems, we are going different ways, but you have now the chance to hear the plane above you. Okay? So when you are looking the first movie, it was Transformers, and I never forget that we were starting the movie. We were looking on the movie. It was, I think, part 3. It could be, or part 2. There was a waterfall. There was a Chester from the right, and so on and so on. Also, a lot of effects that you see. Okay, this could be the effect I can hear the first time from there, and there was nothing in the Atmos track. There was nothing. It was silence. Also, nothing means silence. Not very silent. There was nothing. So, and then we started the Auromatic, and it was like, what's going on? There is a waterfall. There is the Cessna was flying there. But the voices were not there. This was okay. It was very logical from the sound effects. It makes no sense to have suddenly the voices all above you and so on. No, that was not happening. And the crazy thing is the effects are inside the track, but they are not in the highlight loudspeakers. The Cessna was there, but the Cessna was flying there.
Why is that the case? Why are they not using those height channels?
It is when you speak about with people in the industry, and we had the chance with the ARRI guys in Munich to take a look really closely on a German production, how they mixed it. It seems to be really that it's you need a lot of time, and that means you need a lot of money. Yeah, although sometimes we had the feeling that they are really maybe take additional 2 hours in the studio to make an Atmos mix to get the Atmos sticker on the disc, and that's it. There was a movie, American Sniper. Remember? Mm-hmm. Fantastic movie, and I think it was a movie which has got an Oscar for the audio. And this movie was done in Auro and in Dolby Atmos. And when they announced the version for the home cinema, we had done the following thing. The movie is around about 2 hours. We have take our student into the room and said to the student, so you hear only the height speakers, please, for the whole time, and you write down how many effects and how long you hear effects. Altogether, we came on a 2-hour movies of around about 2.5 minutes, and that was all.
On the Atmos mix.
On the Atmos mix. The rest was silence. The rest was silence. But this is not a movie where 2 boys or 2 girls or whatever are sitting in a living room and speaking only. No, it was a movie with helicopters, with a lot of explosions, with a lot of different things. And there was nothing. Yeah, and we have a lot of other examples where we say, what's going on? Aquaman. Aquaman is it was a big budget movie. Yeah, okay, but it's a big budget movie. Yeah, it's something for it's a no-brainer. Yeah? Okay, you sit down and say, whoa, but from the sounds, no, sorry. When you hear, and we have a feature where we can switch off the amplifiers for our lower speakers, so we can hear directly only the effects on the height speakers. And when we are doing this, the people think, what's going on? Why is something defect? I say, it's the same feeling with me when I have a new disc in my hand and I take it, and sometimes I think my machines are defect because there's nothing.
Yeah.
And then now you start the Auromatic or DTSX. In open words, we think the Auromatic is much better. It's much more natural. And I heard it from an interview you did some days ago with a guy where when he heard the Auromatic with music, he was so impressed. When I remember, you're right. Then you start the Auromatic. You have a chance to change a little bit, to adjust the Auromatic in the levels, in small, big, and high. And you have a chance to adjust the Auromatic with the numbers of 1 to 15 in the deep and so. And then you hear the effects. And then you hear the effects. You hear the sounds there. And it is absolutely natural. And this makes really fun. If I have original content, no problem. I'm not using the Auromatic or the DTSX, DTS Neo, but the content is so that we are using the upmixers. And this was so the main reason why we thought, okay, what's going on, Dolby? You don't like this, but please make your content better. Or speak with the studios when you have not the influence, but speak with the studios. They have paid so much money into the industry to bring Atmos in the cinemas, in the studios from the technology that there are the machines there. Yeah. But if the right one, if the end result is so like it is, then there's something wrong.
Well, I've noticed that myself too, because I will get a bunch of Atmos discs and I'll test them out, and I'm underwhelmed by the fact that I don't feel that immersive bubble that you're always told you're going to feel with Atmos. And I'm like, well, maybe I don't have enough height channels. I've got four height channels.
No, it's not a question.
Yeah. And I always wondered about that. And especially when you try to use the bouncy house speakers, because a lot of the sound that comes out of that it's if you don't have those speakers above ear level, you can localize that sound, and it becomes very distracting when they're actually working those channels. So it's important to have good speaker placement, to have discrete speakers on the ceiling firing down at you to give you that immersive bubble. But if we don't have the content, then what are we doing?
Upmixer.
Yeah. Well, but I'll tell you this much though. One thing I don't like in upmixing, and I've said this many times in the past, is if you're upmixing just 2-channel music, I think there's a problem with the DTS Neural X upmixer. It sounds
absolutely
terrible. It jumps everything to the center channel.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
And they have a curtain before the mouth. Yeah, this is the second thing. I'm absolutely
they
fully
went backwards. Agree. They went backwards because their last upmixer before the immersive sound came out, I used to always use the DTS upmixer for 2-channel music because it had a center spread on and off feature, and it was a beautiful upmixer. I don't know what DTS. I feel like DTS rushed to get back on the market because Dolby was there first.
Absolutely,
they didn't finish their upmixer.
No, that was right.
That's what I feel.
No, yeah, it was a fact. Also, when Auro was the first, then they came the Dolby Atmos guys, and then we had the CES in January. It was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and DTS was announcing we are coming with the best upmixer, but we were waiting for 1 year to get the first results. And then the hardware industry had really tough problems from the AV receivers because they believed that it's easy to integrate it, but they have a big problems. It depends on the chipsets which were into the AV receiver. Also, if you're speaking with engineers from all the companies like Denon, Mara, and Pioneer, and so they get big headache when they remember what happened in the past by integrating DTS:X in the machines. It was really a big problem.
Yeah,
okay.
This is a good comment right here that I agree with. Disney should be one of the best Atmos with MCU and Star Wars movies, but they sound like crap. It's true.
Absolutely. It's absolutely true. It is absolutely true. Star Wars is another example. Also, unbelievable. It was the same with 3D, but this is another topic. We can speak later on or next time with about 3D. Star Wars on 3D, it was, it was nothing. Now, what is interesting, and this is another thing with a loudspeaker layout. You spoke about that you were thinking that you have maybe not enough loudspeakers, but when you speak with the people like Wilfried, you say it's not a question of the numbers of loudspeakers. It is a question of the system. And you spoke that you have loudspeakers under the ceiling. It's going there. In open words, I think personally that the basic ideas behind the 3 systems is hard different. The Dolby guys say we take it there, this direction, but how many effects you hear in your daily life from there? How many?
Not many, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm living in the near of the airport of Düsseldorf. I have it regularly by starting and landing the planes. But if you have sounds which are coming from there and they are not normally there, your brain said something is wrong. And this is happening on music as an example. When you hear music in 5.1 and you have a guitar, there is a fantastic, makes you crazy. Yeah, or a singer is coming from there. Or on the Dolby, there was this is a demo disc of Dolby, one of the first. There was, what is it called, Spanish singer, and you heard suddenly kids.
Oh, Enrico Iglesias by Lando. Yeah,
Balando. Yeah, you heard this. The kids are thinking, are the kids on the balcony or where they are? This sounds not good. And the crazy thing is, if you're using the loudspeakers like on the Auro or like on DTS:X, which are going this way, this sounds in Atmos sounds much more sympathetic, much more natural. And that's the reason why we see now more and more different layouts, which are closely going to the competitor layouts. When you visit studios like MSM in Munich, which are one of the main developer of Pro Audio, and I took a look on scene and said, hey, what's going on with your loudspeakers? Why the loudspeakers are this way or not this way? Yeah, it's better, and it is officially authorized from the studio because we are certificated Atmos Studio. So, and you make not something wrong when you are going with this way. We think it is much better on sound, and it's easier. You get much less headache when you are discussing with your wife that you like to have in your living room loudspeakers under the ceiling. This is normally a no-go.
So let me make sure I understand you correctly. Are you recommending front and rear heights up on the walls, angling down, or you're recommending not where not in the ceiling?
Not in the ceiling. No.
Okay. So I agree with you. You're basically looking at a speaker layout like Yamaha used to always recommend with their 11 channel receivers, where they have
Hmm.
the bass level speakers and then height effects above it and height effects behind it. Now, I like that kind of a layout, but the problem I see with that in some cases is if you only have 8 foot ceilings and you have 5 or 6 foot speakers in front of you, like I have in my example, there's not a lot of separation between your main speakers and a height speaker at that point. So it's almost like if you don't have high enough ceilings, you don't get enough separation. If you run test tones through a speaker layout like that, it's almost sometimes hard to tell where the sound is coming from because there's not enough separation between those speakers. So you either need higher ceilings or you need to maybe put the speakers more forward up on the ceiling and kind of angle them down. You know, you need to have a good 4 or 5 foot at least of separation between those speakers. Don't you agree with that?
Also we have normally distance from the floor to the ceiling of around about 2.5 meters.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how much is it in foot as a
That's
normal one. I think
that's
it's the same.
about 9 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have the loudspeakers in this area for the lower, also for the bottom. It's not above you, the lower ones. And
Right.
then the other one, we are not taking the big loudspeakers under the ceiling. We have small ones, we have very compact ones, and then we have a distance between there and there from more than 1 meter. So that's
Yeah.
enough. You have really this effect there. This is your effect we have on the end. We have
Yeah.
5 loudspeakers there, and we have the 4 there. We have not a must to use something like voice of God, center height. It is nice to have, but it's not a must. It is working with minimum systems of 5 there, 4 there, and this is my opinion. It's a must also for Atmos. Otherwise, you lost a lot of effects when you have
So
effects.
you're talking about a 9 speaker layout. You're talking about
Yes,
five bed channels and four
yes,
height. Okay. So
yes.
so the center channel is not a necessity.
It is nice to have. It's a
Nice
fine
to have.
tuning, nice
Yeah.
to have, but before you fly, you need to go out of your house, but because your wife is unhappy about you, don't do it. It's enough with the 5 and the 4. Okay?
So why is it that Dolby was so adamant when Immersive Surround came out? They were so adamant about not having a unified speaker layout with Auro. They wanted you to have they could tell you to place the bouncy house speakers wherever you want. Put them by a fish tank. Put them up on the side and just forget that they even exist. Put them over here. Put them over there. But when it came to the in-ceiling speakers, they had to be 20 to 40 degrees. They had to be very specific angles. They were incompatible with doing front height and rear height like you have in a speaker layout for Auro 3D. Why is that?
It's a question of money.
Money in terms of
Yeah, you don't give a piece of your cake to other people. You are number one in the past. You were the big company, and it's business. It's a license company. Yeah, I found I got a nice sentences in the years of this amazing job with the 3D sound. I personally think 3D sound is, and I gave this in an interview, is a gift of God for all of our industry. Yeah, we had mono, we had stereo, we had Dolby Surround, we have Dolby Digital, we had DTS, and so on. And then there comes the 3D sound. What's coming after? Holography? I don't know. But this was the best.
no
This was the
sound below you is next.
yeah, maybe. Okay. But this is a big business. And it's a big business in the industry. It's a big business in the cinema market. And there is coming a small companies. DTS is not a small company, but DTS was the last one. But Auro is a small company. They come into the market and they got George Lucas was was the first to say, hey, that's amazing. Yeah. Did you know that Porsche is using Auro in cars?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
I
we
don't
were
drive too many Porsches, unfortunately. I'm a BMW guy.
I know if you have a chance to see a Porsche, it's a Panamera, and it's the other one is
Yeah.
a big SUV. They have really installed additional loudspeakers in the top to have original Auro because they make a lot of testings for 3D sounds. 3D sound is not so first time integrated in cars, but it's the first time with this algorithm. It is unbelievable. So it's a big business. And yeah, you can have what was it? 5 engineers or 500 lawyers, or you have 500 engineers and 5 lawyers. Who's winning the game?
The lawyers.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could see this in the market. It is really tough. Also, sorry that we are speaking a little bit harder about the Dolby guys, but I think Dolby is having a nice product, but they have to work I would say, a little bit more friendly with the other ones. And the other thing is, speak with the studios. You are personally much closer to the studios. Ask them why these big budget productions are so poor in this quality of these effects.
Now, do you think some of it is because they're doing all near field mixes when they do the mixes for consumer audio? And do you think that has any part of it, or do you just think that they're not utilizing the high channels because of budgeting and putting the final touches on the movies when they translate that mix sound?
The most of the things is budgeting, for my understanding and for what we heard from the other ones. Because the point is, who is making the decision to make a Dolby Atmos mix, to make the 3D? It's the producer. And if the producer don't know how big is maybe the potential end user market, he's not doing this. When we speak with the people which are working behind the curtains, they said to us, if they are making the decision to make a Dolby Atmos mix when the film was made, was filmed, it's normally too late. You need to do it directly in the beginning. Okay, you say, this is my camera, this is my audio guy, this is the sound we like to have, this is 3D, and when this is planned directly from the beginning, it's much easier. That's one thing. The other thing is, of course, it is more work to make 3D mixes. We as Germans have another problem. This is a problem you don't have. We hear this all dubbed or synchronized. What is the name? Dubbed means they speak German in our movies. Yeah? As Brad Pitt speaks fluently German. Sounds right. Fantastic. Okay. So 98 or 99% of the Germans are looking this movie dubbed. We get sometimes Dolby Atmos tracks in German in the cinemas, but not on the disc. That means really huge movies which have both tracks in English and in German. The studios decided, no, we take it only in English on Atmos. If you like to have it in Dolby in German Atmos, we have no chance. Or the craziest thing was,
is it in 2-channel at that point when you're doing different languages? Is it 2-channel or is it 5.1?
No. You can have the German one in 5.1 or 7.1, sometimes only in Dolby Digital. That means more and more big budget movies are working with it. How old is it? 20 years, 15 years, the standard Dolby Digital? I think so, roundabout. No? That means we get it on we get it on a very, on a poor standard in German. And in cinema, it was in Atmos. Why is it? We think it is because the film industry is focusing that they have only one disc for the whole world market.
Yeah.
So suddenly we get 15 tracks in audio. It's nice to have, but I don't need the Indian version in my country. I don't need the Turkey version in my country. I don't need this version and this version, but we have it all there and they save money. But from the quality point of view, it is a big step in the wrong direction.
Now, how does that work with streaming devices? If you do Netflix in Germany or in Europe, because Netflix is rolling out, they're going to be doing Atmos domestically.
Yeah.
So how would they do that in your case? You're not going to have an Atmos track either. You're going to have Atmos in English, or you're going to have 5.1 in German, right?
No, it depends. Also, we have Atmos, and at this point, I would say the streaming guys makes a good job. And I think sometimes the disc guys or the movies say, let's go to streaming. We are not willing to make more and more this physical things here like this one. And the crazy thing was the movie Mission Impossible, the last one. It was one of the best 3D movies I saw in the last years in open verse. I saw it in an IMAX and I saw it later on in normal cinema. And it was one of the best, or it is one of the best Atmos tracks available in English and German. But the German one is not available on a disc. It's only available on Apple TV. I say, what's going on? They don't like that I buy the disc for $30 or $40 or euros. I need to go to streaming and to get the best performance. Why? Wow. Why was the movie not publicated in 3D? It is not available. Yeah, so we have a lot of these crazy things where we say, or Blade Runner. No? Blade Runner is a movie which was announced also in Auro, but the studios decided to publicate it not in Germany. They publicated it in Poland. Germany is the biggest market for Auro in Europe. It's really the biggest market. You can speak with all the AV receiver, and it was not available. Yeah, also these are sometimes crazy decisions. It's not good for the end users. Also,
right.
They forgot the end users. They forgot the public.
Gotcha. So let's recap something here for a minute. If you're buying a receiver today, let's say you get the Marantz SR8012 or a Denon 6500, which they support Atmos, they support DTS:X, they support Auro 3D. You've got all three formats.
Yeah.
if the end user could only put 9 speakers in their setup, then they should put 5 base layer speakers,
Yeah.
and then put front height and rear height.
Yeah.
Now, does it matter? Does it really matter? I've never gotten a straight answer, even from Denon. Does it matter if you configure those speakers as front height or top height? Is there a difference in what DSP is going on to the speaker, whether you call it a front height or a top height or rear height and rear top? Is there a difference at all, or is it just a convenient labeling in the DSP when you're setting up your speakers and your bass management and stuff?
No, also, the 6500 and the 8805 are both and the only which can support 13 loudspeakers.
Right.
Altogether 15. That means you have 7 loudspeakers there. You have 6 there.
Mm-hmm.
This is then 13, and you can do, because on Dolby Atmos you are not using the center height and the voice of God, then you can switch to 2 additional loudspeakers which are nearly on the line on the voice of God. These are then for Dolby Atmos. That means Dolby Atmos is also supported by 6 loudspeakers there and the 7 there. So we have both with one layout. Also, we are installing the layout, which you said 5 there, 4 there, and then we change the names of my background loudspeakers that I can use it also for the Dolby Atmos one. That's a little bit a trick, but it's working well, and it is supported by the companies. And then you have with the one layout, you have not to make the decision in which direction I like to go. No, we have with one. And then I switch only on the evening when I see the movie. It's a good Atmos track, let it run. Is it not a good Atmos track? I let it run with an Auromatic and so. So we have not the problem with making the decision which direction I like to go. Like we had it 30 years ago, 40 years ago with Betamax and VHS. Because we have all-in-one machines. You spoke about Denon Marantz. Denon Marantz is in the moment the company which has in the priceless, also in the payable region of AV receiver that starts with around about $1,100 or I think euro here in Germany with the 4,500. They have all systems inside, also all audio systems inside. So with this machine, I can do all the things.
Understood.
So
but I'm trying to understand if I'm setting the system up in a 9-channel configuration.
Yeah.
Do I call, and I'm doing front height and rear height? Is there a difference in the receiver if you call it front height versus top height, rear height versus top
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. You can see this in the loudspeaker layouts. What kind of, you have so many pictures in the loudspeaker layout setups from the AV receiver. You need to study it sometimes. So how many things, but you can see on the bottom line, this is allowed for Dolby Atmos, this is allowed for DTSX, and this is allowed for Auro 3D. And then you see.
This is what's going to happen. If you call them front height and rear height, is it still going to play for Dolby Atmos? Because Dolby Atmos is expecting top height and top front and top rear.
Yeah.
Is it going to be compatible? Do you have to keep switching between top and front height every time you go between Auro?
No. It is compatible. You can switch it. I can send you a picture later on. Maybe we can integrate it there. How exactly what's the name of all the things is in the underlines or in the backlines there from the setup. But you can do it with one layout. You need not to switch between the loudspeaker layout. Makes you crazy when you need to have every time when you start a movie at first go into the loudspeaker layout to change something. No, this is not. That is not a need. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could provide that diagram, I'm curious.
Of course, I sent you.
Because I know there's a lot of people that are kind of confused about that.
Yeah, I sent you.
Okay. And I guess, so what are you recommending in the case when you have an Atmos disc that is underwhelming with the height channels? Are you recommending not playing it in Atmos, but playing it in true HD and then upmixing it to Auro?
Of course. It's the thing we are doing daily. No, it's when you take a look, and if somebody's interested, because this is something you can understand without understanding my German language. We had made some really tough videos where we have really demonstrated this. We have demonstrated with Blade Runner 2049. So it's a fantastic movie. I personally think I'm a big Blade Runner fan, but I was really enttäuscht. What is the word in German? Also, it makes me not so happy when I heard it, because there was mostly only sound. Also, it sounded like music there. Nothing from the rain, nothing from the spaceship, and so there was nothing. There was only music. Now, when there was explosions later on, when the rockets are coming from down, nothing. There's nothing. Yeah, is it not silent? It is silence. Or what is the difference? It was nothing. It was a dead loudspeaker. When you start then the Auromatic, said, what's going on? Why is it possible? Or Mission Impossible with the submarine when they are running in the ice field there. Yeah? Explosions, the cars in DTSX. They told us this is I think it was a 100th title. And we started this and we said, where is the sound? There's nothing. No, then they are driving with the cars above the ice fields, the submarine. Then there comes the rockets. The rockets you can hear for a second. Zzz, zzz. That was all. Before explosions, behind explosion, nothing was there. And this is, this is not nice.
Okay, so let me ask you this now. I don't have a lot of experience with the new IMAX mixes. I heard one or two maybe when I was at Sound United event a few months ago. Do you think the IMAX mixes are better than some of the Dolby Atmos mixes? You know, if you get the same movie on Dolby Atmos versus the Dolby Atmos or the IMAX mix, no, you're saying no. So the IMAX Enhanced isn't all what it's cracked up to be, or what are your?
Also for me, is in the moment IMAX is saying there that IMAX tried to come closely in the living rooms. This is the first thing. And then we have to difference between the IMAX America and IMAX Europe. From my understanding, it was so that in the beginning, it was a little bit a misunderstanding. IMAX was focusing only on the North American market, as a market. And that means the software you need to have into your machines, like in televisions or in projectors, was only allowed or was only for the American market made. As Sony, as an example, Sony is supporting IMAX, but they give us not the software for the European models. There's no chance. So Denon did it because they said it is not a problem for us to make it for the American machines and for the European machines. We do it for all the machines, but we have not the content. Also, I have bought for a lot of bucks. I think it was $70. One of the first IMAX Enhanced movies. It was a documentation about a nice island. So, and the other one was about the fishes under the water. So I bought the both, and we were sitting here inside my room and said, okay, let's start it. And what's going on? Where's the effect? And then I saw later on an interview, and it was a video presentation from IMAX with some specialists, and they said, yeah, with the pictures, we like to make it without the noise, which is sometimes so in the picture. We have a nice effect, and we have a nice feature that we can take it away. And I said, hey guys, did you ask the director? Did you ask the cameraman that you are doing this now? I have no idea what is behind this idea. I have a lot of filter things in my projector. If I don't like this, I can take it away. But they said, this is one of the effects for the picture. And from the sounds, we can't see in the moment really the results that we would say this is a fantastic additional new format or additional new feature. In the moment, not, and especially in Europe, because here we have not the movies announced with IMAX Enhanced features. But the people comes crazy because they think, oh, there's coming a big wave of new technology. My next television or my next projector needs to have IMAX Enhanced. And then they are not, in open words, they are not investing into the machines because they're waiting. On the other side, if they are investing, they're waiting for the content. Also, we have a lot of marketing-driven things in our business, and this is sometimes, I think, personally, not so helpful.
No, especially when you have so many different things to choose from, it becomes overwhelming to the end user. So what happens now if someone already has their 7.1.4 layout done and they already have their in-ceiling speakers? They didn't go with the height and rear like you're suggesting. They're just doing 4 in-ceiling speakers, 20 to 40 degree angles from the listening area. Can you still do Auro 3D with that layout, or it just won't sound right?
Don't do it. Makes no sense.
Well, what if it's already been done?
Naja, there is something from there coming, but it's not the same effect. The effect is on the end that you have nearly, when you hear this, that you have sometimes the feeling that you don't know where are the loudspeakers, and this is the point. This is the best result. You have only the sound around you, but it's not so that you say, oh, this is especially coming from there or there. No, you are really, what is it called? Immersive sound. You are really in this, and you forget all your technical, you forget all the things because you're really enjoying the movie. This is the result, or this is the idea behind this, and this is happening.
It sounds great. Personally, I would love to have Auro 3D in all of my systems in my house, but it's sometimes very impractical to do front and rear heights. It's easier to put in ceiling speakers. I'm not going to lie to you. It's an in-ceiling speaker is not obtrusive. It's flat against the ceiling. In walls, you don't see them.
You know why? There's a big difference between Europe and America. My house is completely in stone, and I have no chance to make a hole inside the wall and say, come on, take it in. There's no chance. So this is a big difference. That's the reason why I see much more in-ceiling loudspeakers in the market in America than in Germany. When I have an idea to make an in-ceiling loudspeakers inside there, I need to really think about it when I start my building of the construction of my house. Otherwise, it is not possible. Nearly not.
Yeah, flush mount speakers are a huge business in America. Huge
I saw it on
business.
CD. I was really surprised how many thousands of loudspeakers I saw.
Well, that's a lot of the companies that's their bread and butter. There's companies
Yeah.
that do high-end box speakers, but they make all their money on flush mount.
Yeah,
It's just a
I
different
know.
market.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Well, you've got me inspired to really try to get Auro 3D going. I have an Auro 3D processor. I have the SR8012. It's just my speaker layout
Fantastic.
It's a great receiver, yeah.
But sorry, there's a difference. The 8012 you said, no? The big one for Marantz.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, this one is not supporting Auro 3D with 7 channels on the lower one. This is not supporting because the DSPs are not strong enough to do this.
Yeah,
you can use this 7 loudspeakers for Dolby, but if you have an Auromatic, then it's using only the 5. There includes the voice of God. Okay, so the only ones are the 8.5 and the pre-amplifier from Marantz, the 8805. Yeah.
So
Okay.
let me ask you another question now. We're seeing a lot of processors that are coming out now that are 16 channel and sometimes even 32 channel.
Yeah.
What is the advantage of getting a processor like that when the Atmos mixes are all encoded in 7.1.4? They don't really go beyond that. Are we just virtualizing all these extra channels? What are we doing with a 16-channel processor with all these extra surrounds?
Now, as I know the Trinov one, the Trinov is behind me. We have the Trinov here in our studio, and I was personally in Paris in March, April on a presentation and on a training with my employees, and they had much more loudspeakers in the new conference and presentation room. Yeah, also, a Trinov is a fantastic machine. They have a lot of nice features inside the machine which can use this big area of loudspeakers. That's possible. It's possible to do it. But on the other side, this is only a niche market. How many people we know which are installing 17, 20, 25 or more loudspeakers in the market? It is working. It is nice to have, but this is not really the dimension of a really big mass market. And what I said again is, it is not a question of how many loudspeakers you have to get a good 3D effect. It is a question of the system behind there and of the layout behind there. And in open words, like I told you, how much is coming from there? How much in your daily life? The most is coming from there and there. Yeah, and a little bit there if you like to have. So the basic idea, I think, is to get 3D sound into the rooms of my home is better from the Auro guys. They have it's more logical. It is more logical. Yeah. When I go to the streets, I have this sounds and this sounds. I have nothing there. Yeah. And I have not this, what is it called? It is called a black hole. You have normally with the layouts of there and there, you have a hole there. There's nothing. There's nothing. You can hear it that there's nothing. Yeah, and then you take a look on the music again. The music ones, we have so many music things. You can use 3D sounds for, I would say, creative mixings. Creative mixings means the voices are going around you, the voices are going there and there. Or you use it for really a realistic presentation, that you have the feeling that you are sitting in the church, that you're sitting in the Albert Hall and so. Yeah, these are the two ways the music guys are using 3D sounds. And there's also the Auro person would say much more closer to the realistic in the hall, because when I'm sitting in the church, I have nothing directly coming from there. It's going around me there. This way is it?
Yeah,
and you can hear this. Take a look on the Pro Audios.
I could tell you from what I know is years before Atmos came out, when Dolby came out with ProLogic 2 Z, they proposed having front and rear heights like the Auro 3D setup. But that was a huge failure. The ProLogic 2Z never caught on. Part of it was because that upmixer wasn't very good. It didn't really add much to what ProLogic 2X was. But from everything else that I read and I heard about, it's just a hard sell in America to have put speakers up high from front and back to you. So that's why that's the crux of why Dolby came out with the Atmos reflection speaker, because now you could just put a speaker on another speaker, and it looks
Yes.
like you have one speaker, so the wife
Yeah.
doesn't get all pissed off.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's brilliant to some extent, because it allows you to throw more speakers in the room without pissing off the significant other.
Yeah.
But it's also obviously a compromise.
Absolutely.
So, but I do think it's still an easier pill to swallow to put the speakers in the ceiling. So I'm going to come back at you and say, well, maybe we could still do it in the ceiling, but maybe change the angles a little bit more to accommodate Auro.
Yeah. I make a movie for you next time. I show it.
Okay.
Maybe in English. I try harder.
Yeah. Well, you've given a lot to think about, because I'm actually thinking about redesigning some of my systems. I'm kind of toying with the idea of moving into a new house and just starting from scratch again. And I'm just thinking of all these different configurations where I could have multi-purpose speakers set up for Atmos and Auro 3D and switch back and forth, because I would like to do the comparisons to give people a better idea of the best speaker positions based on source content. It's not always easy to do that. It's not easy to throw all these speakers in your room and do all these tests. So, but I understand that you've been doing this for a while. You do these installs all the time. What's the most common speaker configuration that you do an install for a customer?
Also since 2.5 years, we are really in the business of the planning and really on construction of home cinemas. Before there, we were only supporting the people and they do it by their own. But now we have people which are really making the constructions. And if you have a chance to make these constructions, mostly it's the biggest layout we have, this with the 13 loudspeakers for both the systems. And then they are using the 8.5 or now the Trinnov the first time. The Trinnov is very interesting to use here in our room here. I'm sitting here in the black hole you see here behind me. Behind me is an 870 of Sony, the big laser one, the big GVC N9. We have a Stewart screen here. Also we have a fantastic system here, but we have different layouts installed. We have one with a DALI, which is a typical Auro layout, and we have one with Bowers & Wilkins, which is a typical Atmos layout with the 6 loudspeakers going this way. And now I can switch by my Trinnov between the 2 layouts, because the Trinnov has 29 memory setups for different layouts. And then I can explain. I need not to speak so much like now. I need only to say to the people, sit down, and now we start. And after 5 minutes, they understand everything. It is so simple because you can explain it by presentation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this makes so fun in my job also. That is the reason why we have so much fun also on the job, because you can see and you can hear directly what we speak about it. Right. And this is very, very helpful. I know that in America, the market is a little bit different. Here in Germany, we have a lot of studios. We have a lot of people which make this kind of presentation because it's this kind of dealer. When I was 2 years ago in New York, I was searching for a hi-fi shop. I was finding nearly nothing. Yeah, there was nearly nothing. I don't understand this, but this is a difference in the markets. And it could be much more helpful if you have more chances to see and hear it directly in front of you. You go into the shop. They have a special room. It need not the biggest room. You can make it in a 12 square meter room. You can make it in a 20 square meter room. It doesn't matter of the room size. It is only the question of the layouts. Sit down and start. This is so easy.
So let me ask you this now. Auro's great. We all agree that the upmixer is great on it, but they have such little penetration in the United States. How are they going to fix that? How are they going to fix that? There's not much demo material for movies. There's not much awareness. There's only a couple of brands that are licensing Auro 3D. I mean,
but this will change.
I'm not convinced that it's going to change, to be honest with you. How many years has it been? And the only people that are licensing Auro 3D in the mainstream are Sound United brands. They're Denon and Marantz. You don't have Auro 3D in Pioneer. Yamaha doesn't have it. Sony doesn't have it. You're looking at me and you're smirking like something's going to happen. So tell me what you know that I don't know.
Oh, no, I don't. It's not allowed to tell. But I can promise you next year will come a big brand with Auro. This year is coming a brand, an English brand with Auro. It's a high-end hi-fi brand, a typical hi-fi brand from UK. They will come with Auro. So there is coming a lot. It's coming. Auro is not dead. But the point is you have a David against Goliath thing. Sorry. Belgium is there. Los Angeles is there. Hollywood is there. Yeah. Also, I think sometimes it could be helpful if you are making also sometimes dinner with people of this industry and then you make some nice contracts or whatever. That's a deal. That's happening. On the other side, we find out that we have companies in the market which say, oh yeah, we need to have a product with Atmos and so, because my competitor has it all. They have no idea what is behind there. They never heard it by themselves, their own products. This is crazy, but it's happened. Yeah, because everybody's asking for this, so it needs to be good. Of course it is good, but please take a look around you, and there are alternatives. Take a look, and maybe they make also some marketing faults. It is not easy. You are on one side an engineer, on one side you need to be the best marketing and sales manager to sell your product. It is not easy to do all this. Yeah, and this is a hard business. This is a business where we have maybe not also the experience in the market. Also what we did in the last 5 years was presentation to the people. We have invited the people, and I said also to Sound United, if you have in France or in UK not the same success, it is not the question of the people of the UK or in France. It's a question of how you present it to the market. And if you don't do this, it is not working. It is only done by presentation. It is the simplest and effective way.
Yeah, I got you. I hear you. You're preaching to the choir, my friend.
Thank you.
So we need to get Auro to get more aggressive. We need to get demo material because there's not a whole lot of diversity of content. But I also think people don't understand the benefits of upmixing enough. Like even just 2-channel music upmixing, a good upmixing on 2-channel music can be transformative. And I think Auro probably needs to focus more on their upmixing prowess. If there's not enough software content out there, they need to talk about how good their upmixer is, because there's so many people that I listen to that have all 3 setups say, you think Atmos sounds great upmixing music, Auro 3D is even better. The Auromatic upmixer is even better.
Gene, I have a deja vu. When we started with the cooperation in point of that, we were presenting the products, also Atmos, Auro, and later on DTS X. And I find out that we have no German cinemas with Auro. I said, nobody makes a German version because there's no cinema. So when you have no cinemas, you have no chance to play your version in Auro. It's not a chance. So I spoke with Wilfried, said, Wilfried, you need to focus on Auromatic. This product is amazing. I have no idea how it works, but it works really good. So push the Auromatic, push the things. They didn't. We do it. It's working. I know from my customer side that all they are happy. I'm looking everything. I look also a soap. My wife is looking soaps, yeah, in Auromatic on television, yeah, because it sounds much better, yeah. Also, it's running the whole day in we have a small cinema in my living room. It's running the whole day. So, yeah, the point is, please try it, check it, and it makes fun. Star Wars, the first one, Force Awakens. There's a nice sequence. If you have a chance to see and to hear the sequence, or your audience, when they find the Millennium Falcon in the desert, and they stole the Millennium Falcon. Yeah? You know the sequence, maybe the what is it called? The lady and the black guy go into the Millennium Falcon, and they started. Yeah, they started. You can hear the Millennium Falcon. The original mix is only 5.1. Hear it with Auromatic. You can hear the first time Millennium Falcon is flying over you, really over you. Everybody, when I show this short sequence, only 1 minute, people say, what's going on there? Also it makes sometimes so fun to see the reaction on the faces of the people, no? Because never has they heard this. Normally it flows in your stomach. No, so you can see how realistic and how good and sensitive this system is working, that it's not changing the whole layout, also the whole effects. It's really very, very natural.
There's a good question that just popped up that I was kind of wondering too. Since Dolby was trying to do the restriction of upmixing, this gentleman here asked, is Dolby pursuing studios to use only Atmos? I'm kind of curious about that. Have you seen that?
Also, I have not 500 lawyers, although I need to think about what is my answer. But yeah, there's a lot of, yeah. I heard in the market that you give a lot of money sometimes to the film industry, that they are doing this and this. And when I heard that some months ago there was announced that new studios are using now Atmos technology to mix music, I heard, it is a rumor or it's true, I don't know, I heard that they had give them a lot of money to invest into the technology. These are the deals. Yeah, they give money, they're supporting this with money, and they give their money and their money, or they make a marketing or something like this. Money rules the world, or what is the word in English? I don't know, but this is in this business.
He who has the gold makes all the rules. It's the golden rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the influence is coming more from the end users, and I think that what happened with the restriction that they have stopped it is coming from you, is coming from us, is coming from a lot of people which were speaking about in the public, because this was done in a closed room. They make the license and they was pushing them, and they were not happy, the industry. They were absolutely not happy. I said to the guys when I heard it the first time, change the room, change the game, say to the guys, okay, then we take Dolby out of the machines. We don't like your license. But they didn't. Okay. But now it's gone very well. It's good for the market. It's good for the end users. They have a chance to decide by their own. And this is the market. And that's okay. This is a fair thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let the market decide what works best. You know,
absolutely.
Give people the choice. That's what we always say. So,
yes.
Well, Patrick, it's awesome having you here. I definitely want to have you back. We could talk more stuff. We could talk more speaker mixes, and we could go over some movies that you think have good surround content on it. This is an issue that I want to pay more attention to now, because I've always kind of wondered why I have a bunch of Atmos titles that I never use as demo material, because they don't give me that Atmos immersive bubble effect. And I just thought maybe it was me. Maybe I don't have good height perception or something. I don't know. But now that you're bringing this more out into the light, and I'm starting to see that you're getting the same experience as I am, it's been pretty enlightening to hear this. So now you're inspiring me to want to set up Auromatic in my house.
Let's do it.
All right. It's going to happen one of these days. I promise you that. Well, Patrick, thanks again for being here. My friends, if you like this video, please thumb it up. Check out Patrick's channel at Grobe.tv. If you speak German, great. If not, you can hit the captions button on YouTube and it'll translate it for you, I'm sure. And guys, if you like this content, join our Patreon at patreon.com/Audioholics. You could go there and you could tell us ideas you want us to do for future videos. We could have Patrick back on and discuss very specific topics if you want. He's got a great experience in his industry. And until next time, my friends, keep listening.
Bye.